Hello everybody, welcome back to Tsui no Sora Remake. Now, today we are finishing Wakatsuki Kotomi's chapter, and I'm very excited to see how the Tsui no Sora ending is going to be. I don't really know how it's maybe going to be done in a different perspective, or maybe how everything's going to vary, and whether there actually is a Tsui no Sora as well. Which I don't even know. I wouldn't be surprised at any outcome, if I'm going to be honest. And I'm really excited just to see what Kotomi feels, and also how everything we're going to see that Yukito does, how that differs to everything that we saw in chapter 1. Because obviously in this chapter 2, there's not been any choice for Yukito to comfort Kotomi, so I'd assume there'd be no H scene. Which I kind of hope. I don't like the H scene. I think everything in Minakami Yukito's chapter, it would have been fine if it wasn't for that H scene. That H scene, it's just so uncharacteristic, if you ask me. I think it's really ridiculous. But I prefer that ending without the H scene. I just kind of pretend the H scene doesn't exist, if I'm going to be honest. Anyway, let's just get a little bit of context. Oh, right, yeah, maybe not. Maybe not that high. Yeah, there was a very long, well, not really very long. It was I'd say maybe medium, maybe a bit on the long side, the H scene, but it wasn't really too bad. Not as bad as, I don't know, for example, It's My Own Inventions H scenes with Takuji and the bullies, for example. Not nearly as long as something like that, which is very good. Yeah, but this was very interesting. I was really engaged in the characterization between Kotomi and Yasuko here. I mean, my god. I really want to reread the dialogue between Yukito and Yasuko, because I feel like now that we realise that she is a very insecure person, and that she has a whole side of her that she is hiding to Kotomi, I'm excited to see how it will differ. Yeah, and she just wants... If anything, it's really ironic because there's so many people who want to make a good difference to people's lives. If anything, she wants the euphoria of the feeling that she has become more powerful than Kotomi, and she has been able to become said scar. It's really unusual. Yeah, and she just wants to be hated. And it's just interesting. That's kind of like her inner conscience just telling her how fucking disgusting she has become and how she deserves something like this to happen to her. Even though she's never going to stop the actions that she's doing, let's be honest here. I don't think she's going to think about what she's doing whatsoever. If anything, maybe it might just lead her into a worse spiral. This is absolutely insane. Yeah, Yasuko definitely didn't get her way. He is safe, my god. Yeah. Yeah, who knows? I mean, let's be honest, she has quite literally been, well, you know what, by Yasuko, so anything could have happened. Kotomi could potentially think that Yukito has killed Yasuko. It's not necessarily an unreasonable conclusion to make. Yeah, isn't that interesting? It does, yeah, totally. I mean, Yukito hasn't exactly, I don't know, raped her. So, of course, this would make sense for her to give more care to Yukito, the person who's actually, well, kind and not completely delirious in this story. So the 18th of July. The 20th of what? Why is it the case that now it's not even the 20th of July, it's just the 20th? That's weird. Huh? It's grey. Oh my fucking god, is this the ending? I really hope it isn't. It is? That's surprising. Oh my god, I wasn't expecting this at all. Oh. Maybe it's not the end, I don't know. I don't like the atmosphere of this whatsoever. This is properly creepy, I like it. Oh, so that is the credits, there's nothing else to it. This loop sounds nice. I like how they've added the extra layer of, or just the low frequency guitar-like instruments just in the bass line. Well, not really in the bass line, but just in the background, it feels like. This is such an unusual theme. Wow. So I really do wonder if after this credit scene there is any more content. God, it really is unusual. I love how the logo is just entirely becoming deformed and all of it is just fading and it's appearing and reappearing in directions that are very, very unusual. It's really quite exciting just to see what's going to happen next. Oh, that's an interesting turn I didn't expect. It's very, very powerful, this theme song. It's powerful and yet it's so relaxed and it gives you an impression of nothingness and just a feeling of being numb and everything being null. That was interesting. It kind of reminds me of Takuji, if anything. I'll explain why in a second. Just see if there's anything more. What now? Oh my god, that actually is the end. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. What's the next chapter? Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Okay, that's exciting. Oh my god, so it looks like we're getting... Fucking hell. Dude, I can't read this because I'm... The main reason I've been speedrunning Kotomi's chapter is just because I've wanted to finish it for today and I'm going away until Friday, so I didn't want to start something and then just totally, or just put it on hold. Oh my god, why? They could have picked any other character. And I would have been less excited, and yeah, I would have been less excited than this. Oh, that's going to be properly cool. It's going to give me a nice thing to look forward to when coming back. But anyway, the reason why I think the Tsui no Sora logo is Takuji is just some sort of analogy for how Takuji views everything is there's the basement. And when he feels he has no purpose, he has no reason of existence, he is always in that basement and, I don't know, he's... Well, to be fair, I don't know what's happening with this Takuji, but we know what happened with the Tsubahibi Takuji. So maybe if this Takuji is like the one in Tsubahibi, it could be the case that this Takuji, he sees... Oh, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking, if you forget about the fact that the logo implies the Tsui no Sora, I suppose maybe it could be like something he knows, and then something that just crumbles away and something that fades away. But then obviously when Zakuro dies, he remembers what he has already known, and then as we saw, it lights the place up in evil in a red colour. I don't know though, I think that's a bit ridiculous, but yeah. That could be an interpretation? I don't know, that was a very interesting credit theme. I was quite surprised about it, to be honest. Oh my god, I'm really excited to read everything about Zakuro though. That's going to be so cool. But yeah, now I kind of wanted just to see how Yukito and his chapter differed because of the new context we have got from Yasuko. And I've heard that there's a chapter on Yasuko as well. I've heard that there's 5 chapters in this visual novel, so my assumption is we're going to get a chapter on Zakuro, chapter on Takuji, and a chapter on Yasuko. I really, really hope we get a chapter on Yasuko, because I think Kotomi and Yasuko, and obviously Yukito as well, they're my favourite characters so far. I think they're really well done. Right, let's see what we can find out. Okay, I know I was going to say I wanted to show you the context of... Sorry, I just wanted to show you how the scene with Yukito and Yasuko differed when he was about to save Kotomi, but this scene is something that I find very significant now. This is very, very contradictory to what I would have thought Yasuko would say. Just look at this. Right, here we go. Okay. You will never guess what she says next. Look at that. Look at that. That's amazing. That really, really is interesting. This changes her character a lot, if you ask me. I'll just let you read this and then we'll discuss why. Yeah, totally, yeah. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to think about the fact that even though Kotomi has been told by Takuji, well, has been proclaimed by Takuji to be a servant of the devil, Yasuko still does everything here. But I suppose what Yasuko was doing, as she said, it's all our fault because we could never understand, we could never see the greater picture, and we could never see everything that was going on outside of it. So I suppose Kotomi needed to be defiled so that... Oh, I suppose... It's such weird logic. I mean, let's be honest. All of this is just ridiculous justifications for sick people to be able to have sex because, well, like Yukito said, they're sad people who are running away from reality and just comforting their delusions. But, yeah, what's really interesting about this is, even though this is the case... No, then again, I mean, even though Kotomi is... Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. That maybe adds a little bit of depth to why it's interesting that Yasuko wants Kotomi to be so inferior to her, because if she's a servant of the devil and if she's someone who's disgusting and who obviously interfere with the plan of Takuji and all of this, obviously, of course, Yasuko is going to be someone who wants to capture her, to make her... Well, submissive to her, really. Yeah, maybe that could be a bit of what she was thinking. But it's also the jealousy between her and Yukito as well. Let's be honest here. I mean, there is a jealousy is a big element of deciding everything that's going on, if you ask me. Yeah, but that's interesting. It's just interesting that even though she is she's believed to be a servant of the devil, Yasuko still tries. Well, no. Then again, I mean, no, actually, then again, I think you could kind of reimagine this scene. So it's Yasuko being sick and wanting Kotomi all to herself. But maybe she's doing that because she's a servant of the devil, so she's treating her like one. Yeah, it's all really ugly. It really is. Yeah. yeah. God, she is quite strong. Especially if she can beat Yukito in just reflexes. Also, by the way, just before we begin any of this, look at this. And then, look at Tsui no Sora too. Yeah. It sounds the same. That's hilarious. So this is a direct quote to this. I just searched it up and this was what I could find. That's hilarious. It's from an anime called Hokuto no Ken, it seems. Right, here we go. I'm just going to re-experience this scene. Why not? Actually, no, let's not re-experience everything because there's a lot of stuff that isn't relevant. I mean, let's be honest, half of this scene is just Yasuko talking to Yukito about how the procedure was a little bit false because of the fact that she had the stun gun, and yet at the same time, even after she'd used the stun gun when Yukito first tried to hurt her, because obviously she had done everything she had done to Kotomi, and then she hid the stun gun instead of showing it, and obviously that caused Yukito to be able to have an advantage because he knew not to come near Yasuko. And wait, no, hang on a second. Right, yeah, here we go. Let's just read the entirety of this again. Why not? I mean, we don't exactly have anything else to read.
Kotomi!
来ましたか、アホの王子様が。
てめえ、Kotomiに何しやがった。
先輩が突入してきそうなので少し寝てもらいました。
Yeah, I just find it really quite funny to think about how kind Kotomi is compared to just how merciless Yasuko is, and just how awful she will do. How awful she will go just to fill her own convenience in. It's still a reoccurring theme. Of course, and maybe shouting "What's the colour of your blood?" as well. Maybe that could help. Just a bit. Yeah. Of course she didn't. She was still busy. Well, she was. Well, yeah, she was busy fucking Kotomi. Yeah. Yeah.
Kotomiに何をしたんだ、お前ら。
そういうのはですね、本当のヒーローだったら始まるギリギリで助けるときに言うセリフなのですがね。
I mean, this is the worst thing. I can kind of see what she's saying because, I mean, though Yukito does save Kotomi, and let's be honest, I feel like everything that would go on for Kotomi if she wasn't saved by Yukito is either... No, I feel like Yasuko will probably try to fuck her as much as possible, and then other people would realise that, oh, Yasuko's getting Kotomi all to herself, and then, yeah, it would just go downhill from there, and then they'd all suicide, and then Kotomi would just be left there, traumatised for life, basically.
Oh, お前のそれ、進行?
Yeah.
これですか？ かしましたよ。
Yeah, totally,
です
yeah.
よね。本当遅い。物語に出てくる王子様と大違いですよ。
てめえ、琴美に何をやったんだ。
ここじゃ延々と男女が交わっています。琴美先輩だけが無事なわけがないでしょう。
They're all so fucking insane. Can we just mention that? I just find it really quite funny to think about the fact that Yasuko's approach here. I mean, you can just see how two-faced she is and how twisted she can be. I mean, look at how she was feeling with Kotomi and how she was genuinely feeling as if she was connecting with Kotomi just because of the fact that no matter what would happen, Kotomi would never surrender and she would just try to notice the fact that Yasuko is very vulnerable and try to help her rather than give in to anything that's happening. She did give in a little bit at the end, but that was only out of pity. It was only deliberate. It wasn't an actual emotion. Yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah, and isn't it interesting that she's really, really exaggerating what she has done? I mean, okay, that has definitely happened, but this kind of gives me the impression that it's happened for hours, and but it's only happened for maybe 10, 15 minutes. I just feel like this really exaggerates what she's done, and it's interesting that she's trying to give Yukito as much rage as possible. That's the impression I get. That's a quote right there. Jesus Christ. Oh my fucking god, this is so distasteful. Yeah, and this is another thing. I mean, look at this. Just another indication of exaggeration about what she has done. You did not fuck her until she blacked out. You made her black out. Well, she fucked someone until they blacked out implies that she made them black out. I need to word that better. She used it to fuck her, but she did not make her black out with said action. Yeah, it's just totally trying to provoke Yukito. Maybe that's just because of how... Maybe it's because Kotomi is somebody who has done a very good job at saving Yasuko... Well, not really saving Yasuko, but making her consider just... Well, how good of a person she is and having someone to... Or just having a realisation that somebody will be there for you in the worst and most sick of times that you're in. Yeah, but what I find interesting is that, yeah, I suppose because Yukito contrasts so much to Kotomi, she wants to make him mad for the fact that, I suppose, even though he's meant to be somebody who could potentially become engaged to Kotomi, she has still done so little for somebody who deserves so much, let's be honest here. She's such a nice person. I mean, I will never ever read a visual novel where somebody is just as wildly kind as she is. It's just interesting that she doesn't feel scared whatsoever, and she tries to have she tries to make Yukito get as much rage as possible. Maybe that's just so that she can embarrass him as much as possible, even though Kotomi has been as good as she can be to Yasuko. I mean, her motives are unbelievable. Even though Kotomi has been so good to her, she still wants it so that Kotomi's life is just totally ruined. Sorry, I just need to remove a memory stick from my PC. Completely forgot to do that before. There we are. Don't know why you guys should care about that, but yeah. Oh, she's really gloating. She really, really is. She's thinking that, oh wow, this guy here, he's so tough, he's a man. And he believes that he's going to be able to get Kotomi down. Little does he realise that that's not the case whatsoever. Totally mocking him with names like this. Yep, never mind. And then we realised for the first time? No, I think we realised that the second we saw her naked. No, yeah. Just how much of a psychopath Yasuko was, but now we see how much of a destructive and murderous psychopath she is. As well as a fucking rapist. Which she actually is. Like, you cannot deny that she is genuinely a person who would fit that label. Yeah. Yeah, fair. Yep. Oh, damn God, she has no mercy. She really doesn't. Yeah, isn't that interesting? She's so gloating, she really, really is. And I just find it really interesting that she just properly has a high from people bowing down to her and people being very, very inferior.
Sate, どうかな?
Oh.
無駄なことを今度は失神しなさい。
Yeah, 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 totally. Yeah, 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 totally.
これで終わりだな。
殺せ。
お前は聖剣士か何かかよ。
Isn't that interesting? I thought that this could potentially be just some sort of indication of the fact that Yukito has done a lot of harm. I think that's what I thought initially. I never could have realised that a finger was missing. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. No. I keep on forgetting it's broken, not missing. Yeah. Okay, never mind what I said.
だから何ですか。
その怪我がなければ俺は負けていただろうな。
That's really interesting. So I find it really interesting that Yasuko is somebody who wants to... Well, when Yukito has... No, I find that interesting. So I suppose Yasuko is in her worst time period, and obviously in a period where everything is... I mean, everything that has happened with Takuji, like she says, she doesn't want to do stuff like that. It must be ridiculously traumatic for her. And I suppose this is just a case where an attempt to run away from reality has led into... darkness, and even more darkness. And now, I suppose, when the one person who could potentially lift you out of this darkness and actually understand you, when she's obviously going to be taken by Yukito, and there's no other way, you just might as well end your life. I mean, my God, I don't know what's happened to Yasuko, but fucking hell, it's not good, whatever it is. Hmm.
一度目はスタンガンの激痛ですぐに身を引いてしまった。
当たり前ですよ。違法改造したスタンガンですよ。普通あれ食らってまだ戦おうなんて思う人いません。
違法改造？そうだったのか。道理でとてつもなく痛いと思った。
なぜ2度もタックルを続けたのですか？
まず 不自然にお前が手を隠しているのが気になった。もちろん木刀に対して虎の子であるスタンガンを隠す意味合いはあったと思う。実際1回目はそれで思いっきりやられたからな。だが2度目も隠していることが気になった。
2回目以後だって虎の子の武器は隠すでしょう。形状などわからない方が有利ですし。
そうか。一度食らえばスタンガンの類だとわかる。だったらそれ以後はわざと見せつけて電流を放電させた方がいいだろ
う。なぜそう考えるのですか？
簡単だよ。あれほどの激痛が走ったらお前の右手の獲物はヤバいと考える。そしたら普通のやつは2度あれを食らおうとは思わない。だったらその恐怖を煽るようにスタンガンを見せつけた方がいい。この暗闇で光る放電は相当インパクトがある。
Yeah, totally.
スタンガンを見せつけて距離を取り木刀で攻撃を続ける。これが最善の戦い方だ。多分そのやり方をされたら俺は無駄に木刀で攻撃を浴び続け体力を消耗し最後に玉砕覚悟のタックルをしただろうな。
Yeah. I see that.
そしたらあの電流に耐えることはできない。
Yeah.
私が獲物をずっと隠していたから2度連続でタックルしてきたのですか？
それもある。だがやはり気になったんだよ。
何を？
お前も琴美ほどじゃないにしても有段者でかなりの実力者だと聞いている。
Oh god, that's gonna provoke her.
片手に霧の木刀、片手にスタンガンなんてスタイルよりもそれ相応の重さがある木刀で対峙した方が剣道の有段者は絶対に強い。3倍弾なんて言われ方するが、あれはもともとなぎなたや槍のような長物に対して剣だと3倍必要だという意味だ。素手で有段者の剣道に勝つことなんて不可能だ。どう考えても木刀で戦うのがいい。
私の名前すら覚えてなかったくせに私が有段者なのは知っているのですね。
はあ、名前は覚えてなくても琴美がいつも嬉しそうに後輩の話をしていたからな。そいつがどのくらい強いかはわかる。
本当にあなたが羨ましいですね。
何がだよ。琴美はお前のことを
Yeah, I
いつも
get
嬉しそうに
that.
話してたぞ。
Yeah.
多分本当にお前のことが好きだったんだよ。
なのに私は琴美先輩を裏切った。
You did, totally.
ああ、なんで間宮拓司なんて信じたんだ。お前こそ尊敬していた若槻琴美を信じるべきではなかったのか。
そんな正論を吐いてまるで平気なあなたが羨ましいというのです。
Now we come back to this line. Oh, he knows so little. Yeah, this is
正
unusual.
論吐いて平気
Yeah.
奇妙な言い方だな。
そうでしょうね。あなたたちみたいにまっすぐ生きる
Yeah, this changes.
正論をペラペラとこの世界で語ることがどれだけ珍妙であるか理解できない。
俺がまっすぐ生きてきた？俺の何を知っている？
琴美先輩が見ていたあなたを私は知っている。琴美先輩にとってのあなたを知っている。
それは琴美から見た俺ってだけだろ。
Totally, yeah.
十分だってことがわからないあんたが憎いんだよ。
Yeah, God. Yeah, what a defense move. Well, sorry, what a move for defense.
ペンかよ。そんなことよりも琴美。
ユキとなの。
So, yeah, what I find really interesting about this is just it really makes sense now. We don't necessarily know what's happened to Yasuko, but the fact that everything that was going on with her and Kotomi, those were just fronts she was putting up. I mean, I will never believe that Yasuko did... I mean, obviously because of the H scene, I won't believe that she was ever somebody who wanted something like what happened there to actually go on, but obviously she was very insecure from whatever happened in her personal life, and then she latched on to Takuji, and then everything just went worse from there. But yeah, what's really interesting is yeah, it's just interesting that Yasuko only knows the person that Kotomi was talking about, and that is the only person that's significant. It doesn't even matter about... Well, I suppose to be able to be someone who is as kind as how Yukito is to Kotomi, you have to have had a straightforward life, because, well, I suppose it's just a relationship with no challenges, and it's something that is just always ideal. Yeah, and from the impression that she has got from how Kotomi is to Yukito and how she views her, it feels as if he's had a really straightforward life, even though she probably knows about what's happened with Ozawa. Yeah, but then again, I mean, I suppose why would... No, I don't know. Yeah, but that is interesting. I don't know what's happened with Yasuko, but for it to be very strange to say reason in the world, she must have been growing up in a very unfair and illogical household, I'd assume. Yeah, it's very ugly. I suppose if you're treated cruelly, what is reason? And why is it so cruel? I suppose you could think. If you're being treated in such unreasonable circumstances, how could you possibly see reason?
Kotomi senpaiが見ていたあなたを私は知っている。Kotomi senpaiにとってのあなたを知っている。
She sounds so fucking pissed off. And then, I mean, this as well. Fucking hell. I mean, Jesus. You can just totally tell all of her emotions just totally going here. All to be taken out on Yukito. You don't even know Yukito yourself, you just know who Kotomi knew. But obviously that as a result of that, she's had a distorted impression of Yukito. But maybe Yukito's life could be easygoing compared to Yasuko's life. We don't actually know that. I do wonder how Kiyoshi would think of this situation as well. I mean, we know that Kiyoshi is an arsehole from It's My Own Invention, and just the fact that he was hanging out with all of the worst people in the school and he was just wasting his time there. I don't get why he had firstly been accepted into the school. Well, let's be honest, a lot of these people who are delinquents, they've been accepted into the school because they were performing well initially, but then there's just been some sort of cause that has caused their life to completely decline. Yeah, gosh, she sounds totally exhausted.
Kotomi?